Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to show you another way to create objects using something called object.create, and we're going to be able to create prototypes inside of kind of a parent object and then have different properties with different prototype methods or different prototype functions. So first thing we'll do is create a variable called person prototypes. Okay, and this is going to be an object. This is going to be an object with the different prototype methods. So I'm going to put one in here called greeting, and we're going to set that to a function. And we're just going to return. We'll put a template literal in here, and we'll just say hello there. Let's say this dot first name, this dot last name. Alright, so now we have this object with our person prototypes, and we have one prototype method called greeting. So let's create an object. I'm going to call it Mary, and we're going to set Mary equal to object.create. Alright, now object.create will take in our prototypes. So we're going to pass in person prototypes. Now we can add properties to this Mary object. So let's say Mary dot first name equals Mary. We'll say Mary dot last name, and there's an alternative syntax for this, and I'll show you that in a second. Let's say Williams, and then I guess we could do an age. So we'll say 30. Alright, so if I go ahead and console.log Mary and save, you'll see that we have an object. Okay, now if we look in the proto selector here, or the proto pseudo property, you can see we have greeting. So if I were to say console.log Mary.greeting, we get hello there, Mary Williams. So this is kind of an easy way to do it, but we're not using constructors, and we're not getting into, you know, hardcore inheritance and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and add another prototype method here. Let's do our gets married. So for gets married, that's going to take in a new last name, and then we're just going to set this dot last name equal to new last name. Okay, now before we do the greeting here, let's just do Mary dot gets married, and we'll pass in a new last name of Thompson. So now if we save, now we get hello there, Mary Thompson. Alright, so that's one way to do this. Now we have another syntax we can use. Let's create another person. So we'll say Brad equals object.create, and just like above, it's going to take in person prototypes, and then we can add a second parameter of an object, and then each property, so let's say first name, each property is going to have to be an object as well, with value as a key, and then the actual value as the value. Alright, so we'll say first name value Brad, last name, these need to be objects, so we'll get an error. So last name, let's say Traversy, and let's do age value 30. We'll do 36. I'll do my real age. So down here, let's do console.log, and let's log Brad. Okay, and you can see we get the first name, last name, age. We also have the gets married and greeting, so we'll just do the greeting real quick just to make sure that works. So we'll say Brad.greeting and save, and we get hello there, Brad Traversy. Alright, so this is just an alternative way to create objects using this object.create method. So in the next video, what I want to do is I want to start to look at ES6 because it gives us a much easier, cleaner syntax for creating objects. Now it does basically just run on top of this, but it's much easier to write, especially if you come from another programming language like Java or any C syntax language, PHP, Ruby on Rails, Python. They all use classes to build objects. ES5 is just kind of weird, and you can see that. And once you get used to it, it's not too bad, but it is weird at first. But now with ES6, we can use classes, so that's what we're going to take a look at next.